Trump tried to bring Iran to the table to make a deal. They said, hell no, we don't trust you. We already know how you do. You coming to dominate. But they talked to Obama, and they made a deal with Obama. Trump is pissed, to say the least. This is so historic. Man, I'll let y'all know what I hear.
So Iran just tweeted out that they will only negotiate with Obama. Yeah, they said, sorry, we're holding out for the GOAT. Yeah, we're not talking to you. We were going to wait for President Obama, the greatest president of all time. We ain't fucking with you, but we're chilling here by the Strait of Hormuz until you send in the varsity team. We will only negotiate with Obama. Oh my, Trump's head is going to explode. He's... I'm sorry. Oh my God. Trump, there will be ketchup, french fries, and cheeseburgers hitting every wall of the White House tonight because Iran is straight trolling Trumpy McDupper pants. He's... Wiper, clean up on the aisle, Oval Office. Yeah, he got a big load right now after this one. Yeah, Iran is trolling Trump. They said they're only going to negotiate with Barack Obama. Fucking genius.
We pulled it off without firing a missile. We got 97% of their enriched uranium out. They were able to maintain a modest civilian nuclear program for energy. And
so you think it was working?
Well, it's not only did I think it was working, even Israeli intelligence thought it was working. Even our intelligence services thought it was working. So there's no dispute that it worked, and we didn't have to kill a whole bunch of people or shut down the Strait of Hormuz. Now,
well, there was some dispute that it didn't work.
Well,
our present president believed that it didn't work, which is why he pulled out of it.
It's not clear that he didn't believe that it didn't work. He just said it didn't work.
Worst deal of all time.
Yeah, because I did it, which is fine. That seems to be a pattern. But there was no serious independent folks who would say that it didn't work with respect to the nuclear program. Now, if your agenda was to bring about regime change in Iran, well, that wasn't the goal of the agreement. If your goal was to dismantle the Iranian military so that it couldn't cause any other problems in the region, then it didn't do that, but that wasn't the goal.
On the right, do you got Trump on the left? Back, bring 'em back, bring 'em back, bring 'em back. Beat back, bring 'em back, bring 'em back, bring 'em back. I'm Obama on the right, Obama on the right. Trump on the left. Back, bring 'em back, bring 'em back, bring 'em back. Beat back, bring 'em back, bring 'em back, bring 'em back. I'm Obama on the right, Obama on the right. Trump on the left.
Nappity Trump, Trumpity Trump. I have some really big news. Wait until you see this. Iran is now trolling Mr. Donald Trump. This is so good. Take a look. Take a peek at this. Hey, real Donald Trump, we've reviewed the tapes and decided we are only talk to the GOAT. They want to talk to the GOAT. Holding out for Obama. The big line right here. You know, the greatest president in U.S. history. Until he's back online, we just here chilling by the Strait of Hormuz. No hard feelings, but we only negotiate with the varsity team. I mean, that is absolutely like really sticking it to them. They just want to deal with the varsity team, knowing that basically Donald Trump is not on the varsity team. He's basically on like Pee-wee. You got to give it to Iran. They really know how to throw the jabs to the left and to the right. It's absolutely unbelievable.
Come on, y'all. I thought this was fake. Iran said they only gonna negotiate with the GOAT, the greatest of all time. They only gonna negotiate with Obama. What the hell? Come on, y'all. It's crazy, right?
Obama he gave Iran the right to have a nuclear weapon at the highest level within a very short period of time, and I terminated that agreement.
It was actually Trump who gave them the right to produce nuclear weapons when he pulled out of the JCPOA agreement that Obama signed with Iran. Trump is literally rewriting history because his supporters are too ignorant to follow.
So this is the latest breaking news. Donald Trump is not happy with Iran's response, saying that they want to bring back Obama, that they only want to talk to Obama, the GOAT, someone on the varsity team. So after Donald Trump heard this, this is what he looked like. He was not happy. And I have Obama's response. It's so good. I got a photo of him when.
Hello brothers and sisters, welcome back to the channel. I'm hoping that you are doing great from wherever you're watching this video from. As you know, I'm your host and presenter Agent Stories. Now, there's something that is going on, and I think the world is getting to now understand the significance of Barack Obama. Remember, when something is there, it's usually not appreciated. And I think it's just human nature. And people just realized, and I think we also, when there was this person that was doing an interview to people, and he was asking people, what do you think about Trump? And people were saying, like, we need Trump back. Trump was better than Barack Obama was better than Trump. Sorry, I meant to say Barack Obama. Barack Obama was better than Trump. And I'm like, okay, the facts are there. People are talking. At least now they have started recognizing something. Do you know that it's not only Americans that prefer Barack Obama? So initially, there was a tweet that Iran shared to Trump. Iran wanted Barack Obama to lead the negotiations because they knew Trump is not diplomatic, as he terms himself. Trump recognized himself as a peacemaker. Trump recognized himself as a person who mediates, peace. Like he's a mediator. He brings peace and everything. But little did he know that people are seeing what Barack Obama did. And this is just a perfect example of black leadership. And this is what Iran is recognizing, because we can see, because the US-Iran escalations is not something that has started like recently. It is something that is geopolitical. So it is something when, even if you check to history, it has always been there. But look at how Barack Obama handled the situation. And look at how Trump is handling the situation. You can definitely get the difference. And so Trump was really furious after finding out that Iran doesn't want to deal with him. Iran wants to deal with Barack Obama as the person. And this makes sense. Do you remember a time when Trump, when there were so many escalations between Iran and the US, Trump used a black woman to help him share knowledge in regards to what is really happening in the US, so that they can find a solution in how they solved the same situation when Barack Obama was the president. And that shows you that there is a quality that Barack Obama has that Trump doesn't have. And this is something that Trump will never accept. And this also explains why we always see Trump is so much obsessed with Barack Obama. But let me talk about that after us watching this video. Hey, I'm just asking you, if you're watching this video for the first time, I'm asking you to please subscribe to the channel, join the membership, and really get to see what I can offer you. But until then, let's watch the video. I'll be back with my thoughts and commentaries in regards to this. So let's watch the video.
He was, when he learned of this, what Iran wants. Here we go. I'll get it. Now, this is Obama's response after he learned that Iran wants to deal with only him, the GOAT, the go-to guy, and that he's on the varsity team and not Pee-wee football. So here we go. I think it's hysterical. Look at his response. It is so good. Way to go, Obama, and we will see you hopefully for a third term. And yes, it'll be really interesting to see what happens with Obama and possibly Iran negotiations. Awesome. There you go. He's smiling.
All right, you guys know I'm not the biggest fan of Trump, but credit where credit is due, because I just read through the terms of the new agreement with Iran, and it is a massive win for the United States. First, he got them to give up 11 tons of enriched uranium. That's 98% of their supply. They agreed to dismantle 13,000 centrifuges used to enrich nuclear material, and they agreed to cap the purity level of the little enriched uranium they still produce at 3.67%, which is 1/30th the level you'd need to make a bomb. And to ensure they don't go off the rails, they agreed to allow independent inspectors to conduct on-site inspections of all of their nuclear sites, including undisclosed locations we discovered through surveillance. On top of that, the Strait of Hormuz stays open and Iran gets no additional cut of oil that flows through it. Wait, hang on a sec. Shit, you guys, I'm sorry, I read that wrong. Those were the exact terms of the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, also known as the Iran nuclear deal signed by President Obama. That deal was so thorough and so well executed that in every single one of the more than a dozen independent inspections, Iran was fully compliant, including all of the inspections conducted by Donald Trump's own State Department. And on top of that, Obama's deal took this straight off the table as leverage, because in exchange for giving up their nuclear weapons program, they got relief from sanctions on oil sales. So closing the strait would have hurt them just as much as anyone else. But Trump tore up the deal anyway, because just like with the Affordable Care Act, any policy that proves Obama was 1,000 times the president Trump will ever be is an unacceptable living reminder of Donald Trump's incompetence and inadequacy, because there is nothing Trump hates more than a mirror that tells the truth about his reflection. A Velveeta Cheeto who is somehow simultaneously both twice the man and half the man that Obama continues to be. So with the deal torn up, within a year Iran had enough enriched uranium to be a problem, so sanctions were reimposed and the strait was turned back into a hostage. But because Donald Trump can't make a deal durable enough to serve as President Obama's toilet paper, he painted himself into a corner and had no choice but to turn to the military to try and bury the problems he couldn't solve with a pen.
There's no dispute that it worked, and we didn't have to kill a whole bunch of people or shut down the Strait of Hormuz. Now,
well, there was some dispute that it didn't work.
Well,
our present president believed that it didn't work, which
well,
is why he pulled out of it.
It's not clear that he didn't believe that it didn't work. He just said it didn't work.
Worst deal of all time.
Yeah, because I did it, which is fine. That seems to be a pattern. But there was no serious independent folks who would say that it didn't work.
Inspectors will monitor Iran's key nuclear facilities 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. For decades to come, inspectors will have access to Iran's entire nuclear supply chain. In other words, if Iran tries to cheat, if they try to build a bomb covertly, we will catch them. So the bottom line is this: whereas Iran was steadily expanding its nuclear program, we have now cut off every single path that Iran could have used to build a bomb. Whereas it would have taken Iran 2 to 3 months to break out with enough material to rush to a bomb, we've now extended that breakout time to a year. And with the world's unprecedented inspections and access to Iran's program, we'll know if Iran ever tries to break out. Now that Iran's actions have been verified, it can begin to receive relief from certain nuclear sanctions and gain access to its own money that had been frozen. And perhaps most important of all, we've achieved this historic progress through diplomacy.
Fury is necessary for the safety of America and the security of the free world. From the very first day I announced my campaign for president in 2015, I have vowed that I would never allow Iran to have a nuclear weapon. This fanatical regime has been chanting death to America, death to Israel for 47 years. Their proxies were behind the murder of 241 Americans in the Marine barracks bombing in Beirut, the slaughter of hundreds of our service members with roadside bombs. They were involved in the attack on the USS Cole, and they carried out the countless other heinous acts, including the just horrible, bloody atrocities of October 7th in Israel, something that most people have never seen anything like it. This murderous regime also recently killed 45,000 of their own people who were protesting in Iran. 45,000 dead. For these terrorists to have nuclear weapons would be an intolerable threat. The most violent and thuggish regime on earth would be free to carry out their campaigns of terror, coercion, conquest, and mass murder from behind a nuclear shield. I will never let that happen. and neither should any of our past presidents.
What do you think of Trump's Iran strike so far?
I'm totally against it.
Why are you against him?
I don't think he had any foresight in what he was doing. For example, Iran proceeding to attack all their neighboring countries. I think it could lead to a world war.
Really?
Yeah, I do.
Would you call it an illegal war? Because some people are calling it that because he doesn't have congressional approval.
Well, it's certainly extrajudicial. Yeah, I think it's probably a legal war. He doesn't get congressional approval for anything, so he's totally an illegal president, in my opinion.
Well, this was the Trump administration's justification. This is what he said was the reason for the strikes. The president had the constitutional authority to direct the use of military force on Iran because he could reasonably determine that such use of force was in the national interest. Does that sound convincing to you?
Of course not. He has not gotten congressional approval. He's taken upon the responsibility upon himself to make that decision.
What if I told you that this was actually the Obama administration's justification for bombing Libya for 7 months?
Well, then that was perfectly okay.
What, do you think so? Was that illegal and was that dangerous?
I'm sorry, I don't know. I don't remember enough about that to really offer an opinion on it.
Do you think that was an illegal war?
I just told you I don't remember enough about it. I'd have to know more about it and refresh my memory.
He conducted strikes in Libya, bombings, cut off the entire airspace for 7 months, killed a lot of people without congressional approval. Similar situation, perhaps?
I don't know.
Okay.
Your president at the time, Obama, when he negotiated with Iran, he gave him $1.7 billion, which was catastrophic. And this is why we have the Iran regime that we have now. But our president now, President Trump, when he negotiates with Iran, he sends B-2 bombers over there to destroy and wipe out everything over there so the people over there can be free. Our presidents are not the same. Y'all have a blessed one.
I read the news so that you don't have to. You do realize that America's most powerful weapon just got exposed as kind of useless. No, not nukes, not the military. I'm talking about the US dollar. And the Iran war just proved something dangerous. You can't bully the world with money anymore. As you can see, the headline says, Iran war has exposed the weakness of the dollar. So what does that mean? Well, in case you weren't aware, for decades, the US dollar has basically been the operating system of the global economy. If you want to trade oil, move money internationally, access global markets, you need dollars. And more importantly, you need access to systems like SWIFT. So what did the US do? They weaponized that. If you step out of line, they sanction you. They cut you off from the dollar system. Game over, right? Not anymore. The Iran war has shown that sanctions are not stopping wars. Iran is one of the most sanctioned countries on earth, and yet they're still selling oil, they're still funding conflict, and they are even charging ships millions to pass through the Strait of Hormuz. So clearly this financial chokehold isn't joking. Basically, countries are just inconvenienced by this. They're kind of unbothered. They're just going around the dollar. So instead of the dollar, for example, Iran is trading in Chinese currency. They're using shadow banking networks. And now they're even demanding payment in crypto. Yes, crypto. Stuff like Bitcoin and stable coins. And the problem is, for the US anyway, they don't control crypto networks. So if the money can move outside the system, then sanction loses its teeth. Also, there's this concept called weaponized interdependence. And basically it means if you control the system, you can punish people. But if you overuse that power, people build alternatives, new payment systems, new currencies, parallel financial networks. And suddenly your global dominance becomes optional. And that's the real story, because the US dollar hasn't collapsed, but it's no longer untouchable. And that basically changes everything. Sanctions become less effective, rivals gain more freedom, global finance becomes more fragmented, and geopolitical conflicts, they become harder to control. And the worst part is the US might respond by going even harder, but that would just accelerate the shift away from the dollar. The US do still have the biggest stick in the room, but the Iran war has just showed something uncomfortable for them. That stick might be cracking. And as people realize that they don't need it, that's when the real power shift begins.
We have some news right now. The Iranians are trolling Donald Trump in response to his meme that kind of fell flat, where he was holding up 6 Uno cards, all wild cards, saying that he has all the cards. Well, the Iranian consulate in India is now putting up their own memes saying we have less cards, 3 + 4s, and a skip. Now, why was Donald Trump ridiculed? Well, remember, he says, I have all the cards, 6 wild cards. In Uno, the more cards you have, the worse you're doing. You want to get rid of all your cards, right? And a lot of people were saying, well, he has all the wild cards, so he's just going to win. But not necessarily. See, if I had a deck of +4s and skip, I could theoretically beat anyone who has a deck of wild cards, like the president does. One thing the Iranians have done really well at in this war is information warfare and the use of memes online to troll the White House and troll the president. And this is just the latest example of what the Iranians are doing. I'll have more updates for you soon. Spread the word. Follow along for all the news you need to know about.
Let's not forget that Barack Obama reached a deal that prevented Iran from getting a nuclear weapon. Trump ripped that deal up. Now we're at war with Iran to prevent them from getting a nuclear weapon, which Trump said he obliterated their capacity for it late last year.
We had a deal, this deal with Obama. Trump did not like it, but with that deal, that held, and Iran took out almost all, virtually just only a tiny bit was left, not enough for a bomb, all out of the country. And we watched it, we monitored it. We had 24/7 cameras to monitor this. We had human on-site inspections to monitor this. 2018, Trump just ripped it up, walked away unilaterally, and from that point on, it's been pedal to the metal by Iran in upgrading that enriched uranium, and that's how you got to that material that would be enough for the 16 bombs, and right now, we don't know where that is.
Trump forgot Obama was president?
Do you think President Xi is a dictator? No, but I think that President Biden was an incompetent president. He gave us the Iran nuclear deal, which allowed Iran to have a nuclear weapon within a matter of years.
The Iran nuclear deal was signed during Barack Obama's second term, when Joe Biden was vice president, but not president. And Obama lives rent-free in that man's head. How could he possibly forget? But did he actually answer the question?
But do you think President Xi is a dictator or not? I don't think about it. Right. He's the ruler. He's the president of China. I don't think about it.
Yet another thing Donald Trump does not think about. He went on to say, you have to deal with what you've got. And President Xi loves his country, and he's a very smart man, and he respects him. And we have to deal with what we have here in the United States now, don't we? Yes, we do. This man is the one with the codes to the nukes. I want you to remember that every single day. And the media is not highlighting his flaws, his inability, and his unfitness for the role the way they did every time Joe Biden mispronounced a freaking word.
Missile, we got 97% of their enriched uranium out. They were able to maintain a modest civilian nuclear program for energy. And
so you think it was working?
Well, it's not only did I think it was working, even Israeli intelligence thought it was working. Even our intelligence services thought it was working. So there's no dispute that it worked, and we didn't have to kill a whole bunch of people or shut down the Strait of Hormuz. Now,
well, there was some dispute that it didn't work.
Well,
our present president believed that it didn't work, which is why he pulled out of it.
It's not clear that he didn't believe that it didn't work. He just said it didn't work.
Worst deal of all time.
Yeah, because I did it, which is fine. That seems to be a pattern. But there was no serious independent folks who would say that it didn't work with respect to the nuclear program. Now, if your agenda was to bring about regime change in Iran, well, that wasn't the goal of the agreement. If your goal was to dismantle the Iranian military so that it couldn't cause any other problems in the region, then it didn't do that, but that wasn't the goal. We pulled it off without firing a missile. We got 97% of their enriched uranium out. They were able to maintain a modest civilian nuclear program for energy. And
so you think it was working?
Well, it's not only did I think it was working, even Israeli intelligence thought it was working. Even our intelligence services thought it was working. So there's no dispute that it worked. And we didn't have to kill a whole bunch of people or shut down the Strait of Hormuz. Now,
well, there was some dispute that it didn't work.
Well,
our present president believed that it didn't work, which is
well,
why he pulled out of it.
It's not clear that he didn't believe that it didn't work. He just said it didn't work.
Worst deal of all time.
Yeah, because I did it, which is fine. That seems to be a pattern. But there was no serious independent folks who would say that it didn't work with respect to the nuclear program. Now, if your agenda was to bring about regime change in Iran, well, that wasn't the goal of the agreement. If your goal was to dismantle the Iranian military so that it couldn't cause any other problems in the region, then it didn't do that, but that wasn't the goal. We pulled it off. Without firing a missile, we got 97% of their enriched uranium out. They were able to maintain a modest civilian nuclear program for energy. And
so you think it was working?
Well, it's not only did I think it was working, even Israeli intelligence thought it was working. Even our intelligence services thought it was working. So there's no dispute that it worked, and we didn't have to kill a whole bunch of people or shut down the Strait of Hormuz. Now,
well, there was some dispute that it didn't work.
Well,
our present president believed that it didn't work, which is why he pulled out of it.
It's not clear that he didn't believe that it didn't work. He just said it didn't work.
Worst deal of all time.
Yeah, because I did it, which is fine. That seems to be a pattern. But there was no serious independent folks who would say that it didn't work with respect to the nuclear program. Now, if your agenda was to bring about regime change in Iran, well, that wasn't the goal of the agreement. If your goal was to dismantle the Iranian military so that it couldn't cause any other problems in the region.
What was the Iran nuclear deal? Let's talk about it, because chances are US news didn't exactly give you the full picture. In July 2015, the United States, along with the UK, Germany, France, Russia, China, and the European Union, all reached a historic nuclear deal with Iran. It was called the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, or JCPOA, and it came after 2 years of negotiations led by then President Barack Obama. The deal officially kicked in on January 16, 2016. This was after international inspectors had confirmed that Iran had shipped out 25,000 pounds of enriched uranium, had dismantled 2/3 of its centrifuges, and opened its nuclear sites to much stricter inspections. And in return, the international community lifted the severe sanctions that were crippling Iran's economy. A win-win. However, just 2 years later, against the advice of all US allies, then President Donald Trump pulled the US out. And it didn't end there, because Trump escalated things even further. In 2020, Trump ordered a drone strike to assassinate Iran's top military commander. He did this with no congressional approval, no diplomatic warning, just boom. And it was after that that Iran began to walk back its commitments under the agreement. And now we have an even further escalation with the recent bombings. So essentially, we had a deal that kept things in check. And Donald Trump blew it up, literally and figuratively.
How do I know you're not mad enough? Because you can't be mad enough at this war. It's cost between $25 and $50 billion so far, and the war started on February 28th. That's just over 2 months. Bernie Sanders' entire college for free for everyone would have cost $50 billion a year, and people screamed and said that's entirely impossible. In 2 months of this war, we could have paid for that program for a year, which would have given people a free education and kept them from taking on student debt. Do you realize if people had no student debt, if we used this money to wipe out student debt, that just getting rid of the interest payments would pump $132 billion into the United States economy? That's 2% GDP growth just by getting 44 million Americans off of their student debt and not having to pay the interest rates, let alone all of the debt they no longer have, which would allow them to buy, spend, grow, initiate, become entrepreneurs. We are shackled by the debt we have created, and we have a way out, and we're not using that way out because we are bombing children and regressing on a nuclear treaty program we already had and causing oil prices to spike. So airlines are folding and prices are going up with gas, with goods, with everything. We are allowing Donald Trump to destroy this country for nothing.
Hello brothers and sisters, welcome back to the channel. I'm hoping that you are doing great. I'm hoping that you are having a blessed day, a blessed weekend from wherever you're watching this video from. So we can definitely see, we are finding answers to the reason as to why we usually see Trump being so obsessed with Barack Obama and the entire MAGA getting so much obsessed with Barack Obama, because they know very well that there are a couple of things that Barack Obama can do. And he did very well, because this is a person that Trump is trying to compare the notes, how he handled the situation and how currently the situation is. So you can definitely see a huge difference. So that explains why we usually see Trump and his supporters so much obsessed with Barack Obama, trying to bad talk Barack Obama. This is something that has been going on for the longest time, brothers and sisters. So it was really shocking to Trump to realize that Iran don't want to deal with him. They realized that Iran wanted to deal with Barack Obama, because to them, they see Barack Obama as somebody who is more reasonable as compared to Trump. We all know that Trump has caused a lot of problems, not only to the United States citizens, but also to the entire world, because from the decision that he makes, he doesn't care about American citizens. But I think this is not the same with how Barack Obama handled the situation. The situation was handled amicably. In as much as people getting hurt couldn't be avoided, but when you look at the extent of people getting hurt, when we looking at how Trump is handling the situation, we can definitely see a huge difference. We can definitely see a big difference in what is really like transpiring right now. So just to say, it's that Barack Obama is that one person that Trump will never be. And that's why every time you will see him trying to talk negatively about Trump, and about Barack Obama. And that's why you always see him, and like, just look at what happened like 2 months ago, 3 months ago, the memes that he created in regards to Barack Obama. Do you see how diplomatic Barack Obama was? Do you see how intellectual Barack Obama was, and how he intellectually handled the situation? He didn't escalate anything. He let it down for the American citizens to decide and really see how racist their president is. And people saw the reality. So while I was there was a couple of videos that I was watching on TikTok, and I was seeing this person who was trying to interview white people, like MAGA generally. And what they answered was like, they miss Barack Obama. They really miss Barack Obama because Barack Obama bought things that Trump didn't do. So that's where the saying comes from. You only need the sun when it's burning low. So they realized that Barack Obama was so much important. It is now. Scarcity brings value. Because when Barack Obama was there, they thought that that's just a black president. But they didn't see the magnitude that Barack Obama held. Right now, they are given the president, but now they are learning. They are learning that Barack Obama really was holding an important position, was holding an important role, especially when it comes to decisions. And you understand that American collapse has been escalated, has been, which word will I use? American empire has been sped up with Trump. Trump catalyzed, actually that's the word, Trump catalyzed the fall of American empire. 70% of Americans are suffering because of Donald Trump. They are suffering because of geopolitical decisions that Donald Trump is making. He is really funding people that don't care about the American citizens. He's really funding things that doesn't benefit American citizens. So that's the president for you. That's the American president. That's the person that you all are looking up to. So brothers and sisters, please let me know what you all think about this. But this is just a point of discussion, trying to reminisce the roles, the things, the great things that Barack Obama have done to the American citizens, the Obamacare, the whole health act, the Medicaid, and everything. It served American citizens. People are realizing that the times of Barack Obama, America was at a better place. So brothers and sisters, please let me know what you all think about this video. But until then, let me see you in my next video. Peace, love, and harmony. Salute.